everybody, welcome back for another video. I have some watercolor palettes here, a couple of jars of water, some paper towels, a blue traveler's notebook. Ooh, just got some water on it. My blue one, which got some watercolor paper in it. And then I have this horrible pad of paper, but I've been having fun with it. And I was going through my, make sure I've got the lights so everything is bright enough. It's kind of late at night and I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. I was going through my stash and I found this set of brushes that I bought. They are Jane Davenport. There it is. This is like a metal base, and the you can see the tips of the brushes have magnets in them, and I'm sure they're a synthetic brush because I didn't pay full price for these, and like they reflect each other that way, but connect that way. But which you can see they're meant so when you wash the brush, you can hang them. It's kind of hard to show or see how they're magnetic. So you can clean them and let them hang so water doesn't get up here and become unglued, but they're really flimsy. They're made in China. Remember when everything she was doing was so popular about what, 2017 or so? I mean, so they look cute and they hang and they got fish scales because, you know, her mermaid thing. But I had them and I'm like, I have them and I don't use them. I tend to use, let's see, where are they? My little factory bear wearing my kippa is protecting the brushes I use. 1, 2, 3, 4. These I use most of the time. They're a Princeton, it's called a snap brush, which is a thin synthetic brush. Like this one, the number 6, I use like all the time. I've got a number 2 and a number 0 round. And then I have this one. It is a angle shader brush, and I use this a lot. And I was looking at the sizes here, and I thought, you know, let me see what those are like. And then I also have this other set. Oops. Because I'm throwing brushes everywhere. These are Royal and Lagnickel. They're called the Zen Brush. And I've got one in a, what is this one? Probably like an 8. Yeah, an 8 and a 14. I have a 12 somewhere. And then I have these. They're, I forget what. They're the same brand that makes the Nevskaya Palitra, this St. Petersburg brand. It's the same company that makes them, but like a, I forget, it's the same brush, and they're like a long-handled brush, and they're all round, and they're like a 12, an 8, 2, 4, a 6, and a 10. As I throw those around. I tend to use round brushes the most, just because that's what I've bought. I do have another set somewhere that I haven't used. Here they are. They're in here. I think they're round brushes too. It's the same brand as this, but with shorter handles. And I have a, what are they? That one's a 2, so this one's got to be a 0. The only one I've used are these two, the 8 it's probably what, a 6? Yeah. And I go up to a 16, so 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. But I tend to stick with an 8 and a 6. But I wanted to try today, and I've got like other like Jane Davenport ones, like she had the ones that had the little fin tail. Like it's another synthetic brush. It's not great. It's just what it is. So like here's another one that's like an angle brush. I think she was trying to make a set like this, but you know, that way you could use these with all the mixed media type things. Anyways, so let's see. Let me get these out of the way. And these. And I'll set these aside in case I don't like these because you never know. But what I have here is 2 watercolor palettes. They are from the, so you might, I think I talked about one of the palettes in one of my weekly updates. With them being a Russian brand of watercolors, they were going to be harder to get. So, Botanica. This is, I wrote on the bottom with a Sharpie marker. And this is what that palette looks like. Beautiful colors. So, this is how it goes. Lemon, cadmium yellow medium, ochre light, what is that? Orange. This is quinacridone rose, geranium red, which is a beautiful color. This is Madder Lake red light, and this one is quinacridone violet. Those two are beautiful together. Then we have ultramarine light, bright blue. This is green, and it's just like green. It's a beautiful color. And then this one right here is sepia. So that's what they call the Botanical palette. Now, I said I wasn't gonna buy it, but with everything going on in the world right now, it was still about the same price as this. You know, 12 full pans for like $27. So this is the Urban Landscapes. I don't think that, yeah, it didn't, the type of plastic this is. Gorodzkoy Urban Landscapes. And there's some really, there's like 1 or 2 colors that are the same in these 2 sets, but really when you put these 2 together, you get a beautiful set of paints. So in this set, here we go, we've got cadmium yellow medium, which is the exact same one. So that's one that's the same. Ochre light, there's 2 that are the same. Golden deep, orange, golden deep, so that's a new one. Red ochre, that's a new one. Cadmium red light, that's a new one. This one is cobalt blue, that's a new one. This one is blue, that's a new one. Ultramarine deep, ultramarine light, ultramarine deep, very different. This one actually granulates. I thought that was really interesting. Then we have emerald green, different green. We have quinacridone violet. That is in both, but it's a great color, so I don't really mind. So far we've had 3 of the same. Then we have Van Dyke brown, and then we have Payne's gray. So in these 2 sets, you've got 24 paints. Only 3 of them are the same. So I guess you've got like a 21 set, which still is nice. So yeah, so I think they're just beautiful colors, and I can see why this one is considered the landscape because of the colors for the sky and for the earth, and you know, so that's the landscape, urban landscape. And this is the botanicals, which makes sense because those bright flower colors, and like those two make a really beautiful sap green, and your blues are really pretty. So I've got some water, and I just want to try these brushes. I have in my traveler's notebook here, I just got some paper towels. I reuse and reuse and reuse paper towels because I even have, where did I put it? Like, here's some that I've been using. So I first want to, I did try these paints on this paper. This is my, oh, I don't know. I'm a big fan of this size of book. I've been using these. I think this is like the second one that I went through. I got them from Arteza years ago. Like 2019, I did this page. Same thing here. And these were Prima oil pastels, which I promptly got rid of. I do not like pastels. And then everything else in here is from 2021. This is that notebook, or that sketchbook. And one thing I've noticed is I have some nice watercolor books. I have like a Moleskin, and I have another one, and they're nice books, but I notice I feel like I'm a little too precious with them. And like, these are just, you know, a spiral. It's a mixed media pad. I mean, it's not the best watercolor paper. These are better than these. These US Art Supply are just, oof. And then it says made in PRC. Is that People's Republic of China? Is that their way of being an American company, but not being an American company? Because even this one, the Arteza one, designed in the USA, manufactured in PRC, People's Republic of China. But the paper in these is so much better. I think even the perforations are better. If you look here, the perforations in here are just like huge. And like you can definitely see, like this looks more like a watercolor paper. This, they say, is mixed media paper, but it just feels, it feels like whatever you put on it, it's just gonna suck it up and it's gonna feather. And that's what happens. But I did do some arting in here, like, and I even did some swatching of colors. Like this I did with Tombow and what are those? Pit pens by Faber-Castell. A little Oogie Bogey. I don't even know if I'm in the center of the screen. Oh, look at that. I did okay. I did a little Oogie Bogey. I used my alcohol markers by Ohuhu just to kind of see what they did on this paper. And you can see it's alcohol marker. They bleed through. I could do another one of me here. This is markers, watercolor pencils, pencil crayons. And this is the botanical set. I just did a quick wash with some paint. This is the urban landscape. This is the, I've got a purple tin, like the basic 12 set. And then I've got a white tin that's almost the exact same paints. And then these are the pastel colors from 2019. Really beautiful colors. That's geranium red there. And these are some other colors that I bought. There's like quinacridone rose violet, Prussian blue, sap green. I can't remember what that is. Ruby. That one might be called ultramarine violet. There's a quinacridone rose, quinacridone violet, quinacridone rose violet. That's lamp black, and that's a Payne's gray, I think. And then I did some little, you know, little kitty cartoon characters, and this was following a Mindy Lacefield tutorial. She was drawing a girl climbing up a hill to get to a house. I just wanted to draw me climbing up a hill to get to the trees and flowers. This is following a Frugal Crafter tutorial on her YouTube channel. I totally used nothing like she used. I used my Inktense watercolor pencils. That's all I used for this. Yeah, that was fun to do. My Kuretake paints, I came across those, so I thought I'd put those down. This is a little seahorse from a Mindy Lacefield tutorial, and I just used watercolor pencils with that. And Mindy has some new stamps coming out that I have coming to me from her. And they're like lots of little sweets with smiley faces. So I decided to draw them because she released a video to draw them before I get to play with the stamps. And then just some florals with colored pencils. Me picking up those flowers. And then I was just going through my Jane Davenports to see the difference between the new and the old colored pencils. But I want to play, since I had these brushes and I've had them since they came out, what was that, 2017, and I've never used them. And I think one reason why I haven't used them is, I don't know, I always feel conflicted about Jane Davenport. And then I also feel like the brush is really tiny. It's the one time I would want the brush to have a longer handle. Like when you compare it to this. And these Princeton brushes do not have a long handle. But like, look how tiny they are. I guess maybe that's for packing it in your bag. I don't know. Yeah, so I want to see what they're like. And so I thought, let's get this little botanical set out. And I just want to see. I wonder what they're going to be like. They feel kind of rigid. But then when by doing that, I feel like I just almost broke it. I think that's the one thing that I have issue with Jane Davenport items is they are made in China in, you know, not the best facilities. And they're so expensive. Like her items are just so expensive. And they're kind of cheap. Yeah, I said it. They're cheap. I mean, would you agree? I mean, I know I'm not using the best paper. I know I'm not using the best brush. Yeah, I'm not sure what I think about these. Let's pick some of that cadmium yellow up. But you can see that this paper is just lousy. Let's see. Let's start with the bright blue 509. That's this one. I'm gonna leave a little space. I'm just kind of playing. Is this the bigger one or? Okay, this is the angle and this is a flat brush. Okay? I wonder what the reason for the difference. I wonder. Yeah, these are kind of crappy brushes. Not on this one. Yeah, they're kind of crappy brushes. What we're going to do is I'm going to do the exact same color on this paper with one of my other brushes and see what the difference is. Let's grab some of the green and put it down here. This is such a pretty green. But yeah, this paper is horrible. As you can see, it's, I think at best, this paper is kind of meant for, what's it called? Like gouache or acrylics. I mean, it says, yeah, it says mixed media. Now, let's let that dry for a little bit. And I have in here in my traveler's notebook, I have, this is a mixed media paper by Arteza, but it's, how do I say? It's, it has a little bit of texture. Why this just feels, it just feels like it's gonna soak everything up like you saw it did there. I'm gonna try something on this, just on this half. Do I have any washi tape? I wasn't really sure what I was going to do today. Here, we'll use some of this. To me, washi tape isn't precious. And I've got this all throughout my journals now because I've had it for a week or two now. All I'm gonna do is put up just a little bit of a border. I know I didn't do that on the other one there, but I wanna save the other half of this for something else, I guess. I don't know. But let's see. I guess I didn't do this on the other page because, well, I didn't know what it was going to do because that paper is... So I started with the lemon yellowish. Let's... Put a little bit more of that down there. Now, I wonder, what if I was to go for a little bit of the... I know I didn't use this color, but what if I was to go for a little bit of this? I forgot their yellow ochre. You got to really wet it. Now, let me get some of the orange. Which is kind of... Yeah, see, this isn't the best paper either. But at least it's kind of... No, it's not really. I don't know. See, it's not the best paper either, and I think I've oversaturated it. We're just playing, we're experimenting. Let's go with the blue. Let's go with the darker blue now. Let's grab a little bit of the sepia for the top. What I might do is take this smaller brush and then kind of, there we go. Just to kind of do that. Now, the bottom, I'm going to put a little bit of the there we go. We'll kind of let that dry. Let's see what happens if I can. There we go. See, we get a little bit better of a blend. I know I put water down first, but like, I don't think this could handle it. It's already starting to like peel and like, it's like soaked, and I barely put any water on that. So yeah, kind of what I've decided with this is I'm going to use it for like markers and pencils and stuff like that. Like it does okay with a, like here with like a watercolor square swatch, it does fine. It does fine with watercolor pencils, but you can see I wanted to get that mixed up more, but it wouldn't let me. So, but yeah, see, this acts more like a watercolor paper would. So we got our little skyline. Yeah, I don't know what I think about these brushes. let's see what happens. I'm gonna grab another piece. I'm gonna set this up here to dry a bit. And let's get, so that was the Botanical palette. Let's get the Urban Landscape. I think there's a few of you that would be interested in seeing this, the Urban Landscape. Now this could be interesting with like these colors for like a sky. I'm just not gonna worry about the washi. Yeah, I don't know what I think about these brushes. I know I didn't spend as much on them. I know they cost more than this set of Princeton brushes did, which is, I think that's part of my problem with Jane Davenport, is they're not a better brush. Like even here, they're like uneven. Makes me wonder if there's like some hairs. I don't know if you can see on the sides that are uneven. You're paying for this. You're paying for the name Jane Davenport. You're not paying because this is a fantastic brush. This is a better brush than this, the angle one. First of all, it has a better slope. This is barely an angle. And then it makes me wonder, was it really meant to be an angle? Because the packaging didn't say any of that. Let me show you the difference here. I'll put the Jane Davenport away. And here, let me just put a little bit of water down, not as much as I did. Just because this is more like a watercolor paper. But let's put a little bit of this cadmium. This one is kind of dry. I haven't used it yet. So we've got our cadmium. Now, the one thing with all of the St. Petersburg is their ochre, their light ochre light. You've really got to put a lot of water with it to get it moving. I don't know what their formula is, but I've always had that with, let's use the Golden Deep. See, isn't that beautiful? Grab a little bit more of the orange. And get a little more of that cadmium. See? This brush does so much better. Now, we've got 3 different blues. We've got a cobalt blue, blue, and then ultramarine. So why don't we start with the cobalt? Just put a little cobalt down. Whoops. My ochre is kind of bleeding into it because oops, my bad. Let's put a little bit of blue. And then this deep blue up here. I know this isn't my real table, it's a drop, so don't worry about it thinking I'm getting paint on my. And then for the top, let me put a little bit of the Payne's Gray, and that'll just kind of make it look more like the sun is starting to set. And then the only green in here is emerald green, and I'll show you how bright that is. See, that's a emerald green, which I find interesting that they put that in an urban landscape. So I'm gonna grab the green from over here. It was just called green. Yeah, see, that's a better green. It looks more like sap green to me. Now, I'll show you the two palettes on the same type of paper, one using the snap brush, one using the Jane Davenport brush. Snap brush, Jane Davenport brush. It's still not the best paper. It's Arteza mixed media paper, but I find it very intriguing that, like, this is almost completely dry now. Maybe here is the only spot where it's a little bit wet. But see, look how it dries so, like, just ick. Yeah, isn't that interesting? So, I think I bought these so many years ago and didn't use them because I was afraid I was going to ruin them. I just find it intriguing, and I liked at that time the idea that they came with this. But this is just a big old piece of metal that the only purpose it serves is to, you know, hold the paintbrushes. And it's not a very good design. Maybe I just wonder why you can't get these anymore because of this. So, I mean, it's one reason why I don't buy Jane Davenport items anymore. I haven't bought anything Jane Davenport in years, because they're just, you're paying for the name. The quality isn't good. These brushes you can get on Amazon for like $8 and change. This set, when I originally got it, I think it was selling for like $39.99. I didn't pay that much. I had a Michael's like 50% off coupon and it was on sale or something. So I think I might have paid like $15, but still these brushes are not as good as these. And this is gonna go in the trash and this isn't. And the only thing I was thinking is I have Arteza is sending me some gouache, and I think I might use these with gouache because I don't want to use my nice brushes, and or I could take one of those other sets of brushes and turn those into my gouache brushes. I just don't. This is one reason why I started that series, No Spend, Low Spend, is I wanted to see the purchases I was making and see where my money was going, and then to see if it was a worthwhile investment. This obviously wasn't a worthwhile investment because I purchased the brushes And then they just sat in a box, and I finally opened the box today. But, you know, I've had them sitting on my little RAS cart for the last 2.5 years, just kind of sitting there doing nothing. You know, because I got them, I want to say maybe like 2018, 2019. But they just sat there and were doing nothing. And so I wanted to become a more, oh, I'm not sure how I would say it, a more, here, I want to get that blue out of my, that sometimes happens with these little palettes where their colors are so close to each other. A little bit of blending is going to happen. You know, I wanted to be a more informed consumer. That's it. I wanted to make sure that I knew where my money was going and if it was a good investment. I ended up buying these during COVID because these were out of stock. Now I know, I've got, I think, a total of 2 of these. 2 of these was the same price as 3 of these. 3 of these is better. Let me get the paints and stuff out of the way so I can, but yeah, see, the brush does quite a bit. I'm gonna wipe that up real quick. I use this for lots of different things. Like, these are just little markers and pencils and crayons. Those were pastels that I mixed up with water. Pencils, watercolor swatches with Sharpie, more watercolor, watercolors. These are watercolors and watercolor pencils, watercolors, watercolor pencils, watercolors and pencils, pencils, all watercolor, oh no, those are just pencils. Just a pencil and a black fine liner, pencils, watercolors, pencils. This is watercolor pencil, and I think that white is gouache. Watercolor pencils, watercolor pencils, watercolor pencils, pencils, pencils and watercolor pencils. This is pencils and watercolor pencils, watercolor, watercolor, watercolor. You know, I haven't tried anything like that in the other one, and I don't think it would work. Let's just say that. And this is a variety of pencils and pens and watercolors and markers and all of that type of stuff in here. Even those Viviva sheets. I don't think I've ever done a full flip of this. Pencils and markers. Pencils of various types. Pencils, markers. Pencils, I think that's watercolor. Pencils. 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 You can see I have affinity for pencils and watercolors. Pencils. That's coal erase pencils, actually. Those are the Derwent Ink Tent 24 pencil set. Those are Tombows, watercolors, watercolors, watercolors. So you can see how this is, I mean, it's not the best paper, but it's a better pad, and it's slightly thicker paper, and that could be why. This is 98 pound, while this is 110 pound. So that could be why it is that way. But I mean, look at that. This is with the Jane Davenport brushes. This is with the Princeton brushes. And this is that paper. This is an Arteza paper. Very interesting. I know, I just thought I would share some thoughts that I've had today. So yeah, these brushes, I'll hold on to them when I get my gouache, but I think they're gonna go in the trash because I can't see myself using them. They also take up a lot of space. That's, you know, another thing that, yeah, yeah, be careful. Really think about your purchase. Don't get, and I know it's so hard to get, you know, like to see the newest thing from the next big name or whatever. And I mean, I had Jane Davenport stuff before I got those, so I knew that like the watercolors weren't the best, and I knew that like the watercolors are exactly like my Mungyo palette. That's the palette that I take. Like if I'm traveling somewhere and I don't really care what happens to it because, I mean, it's not an expensive set. It's kind of like the Prima watercolors. It's, yeah. So there you go. I thought I would just show you those brushes because I had rediscovered them today and I wanted to see what they were like because I never used them. And I also think because I'm not saying I'm a great artist, but because I've been doing art a little bit more, that I'm not afraid to use the stuff that I have because, I mean, that's why we buy it, you know, is to use it and to play with it. And if you don't play with it, you don't know if you like it. Okay, I've played with those. I know I don't like them. I wish I would have known that before I bought them, but in hindsight, about 90% of the stuff that I bought that's Jane Davenport, I've never liked or didn't work quite as expected. I think the stuff that they ship her is much different than the stuff that they ship everybody else. Just saying. So there we are. These I got from Amazon, the watercolor palettes. I don't know how long we'll be able to get them with the boycott and the embargo and all of that stuff that's going on with Russia. So that was why I got them, just because, you know, I had the opportunity and did. So there we are. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned not to buy those brushes. And I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.